Hello everyone. Hope all of you can hear me clearly. I'm Anuradha Modak Depnath here. Today we are going to have a very interesting webinar on Design Management Course Overview by Deepti Pant. Deepti Pant, she is a very experienced person in the area of design management. She has nearly 2 decades of experience working with different companies, and she has led very interesting project related to design management. So over to you, Deepti, and we welcome you again to the webinar.
Thank you so much. Hello everybody, I'm Deepti Pant. I will be talking about the course at Pearl Live, the Design Management Program. The course of Design Management is divided into various subjects. We'll start with first subject, that is Exploring Design Management. In this particular subject, we will be looking at innovation aspects of design, that how does a designer innovate? Why does he innovate? What does he innovate, and when does he needs to innovate? So we will be looking at the fundamentals of innovation in the entire design process. Second, what we are going to look at is that suppose you are a manager and you have a lot of creative people under you. So how do you manage these creative people? You have absolutely no idea, because they have their own temperaments, they have their own timelines, they have their own way of working. And because you're not a creative person, so they don't really look up to you, because you're not their immediate professional boss. You are their more of a managerial boss. So we also explore these particular inputs. Third is very interesting aspect in the entire corporate strategy. Where are design inputs needed as pure design, like how much of event should be designed, how it should be designed, what should be the subtle design or an overt design or a covert design. So it also explores that. Second, it also explores the strategic aspect of design, that is how to engage with your customer in an interesting manner, how to look at future scenarios and look at innovations for future, and third, how to think what out of all the innovation alternatives that come in, which will suit your strategy best. So that is exactly what we do in this particular subject.
Great, Deepti. So I have a very small doubt. I just want to know, as a manager, anyone really try to make the strategy which is very consumer centric? Now, when everything is very consumer centric, what is the role of creative process in this whole setup, and how it actually leads to design management vis-a-vis?
As you will go ahead, you will see that one of the subjects deals with the area of design research. And that really helps a manager to look at his customer or a consumer in a creative manner, to explore the visual language of the customer, and to explore the cultural language of the customer, which we call deep dive immersive customer engagement of the management team. So that really becomes very important in the area of management and the role of a manager within the strategic framework.
Okay, another thing which I would like to ask Deepti. So this particular aspect of role of innovation in design, is it a very important aspect for any manager at entry level, or it is a concern only for senior manager to take decision and be innovative in practices?
No, it is for everybody, because a manager who's even at an entry level, he is also innovating. He might not be innovating the real product, like the entire innovation. If you're selling a phone, suppose, then the innovation is actually happening in Korea in the design or innovation studios. But when you are here at the ground level, then if you know what are the innovations that have happened, and you understand their gravity, you understand their process, you understand that how they were done, first that you feel proud to belong to that kind of a company.
That's great. Yeah. That's really great.
Yeah.
So what next we have with us, Deepti?
Second topic that we will be exploring would be in the area of design management is understanding design and its methodologies. Now, when you are looking at design, what exactly is design? When most of the people think that design is aesthetics, they think it's styling, they think it's looking good, they think it's color, but actually design is the entire plan. So what you do is in understanding design, you understand the entire design process. That why do you need to change something? Let us look at as simple as bucket design. You see, in olden days we had those iron buckets, but now we have plastic buckets which are broader. The iron buckets carried less water and they were heavier. The plastic buckets carry more water and they are lighter. So even the fact that if you want to change the material, the need has to be understood. The process has to be understood. So understanding design is also a lot about understanding the entire process. That how a product which needs to be changed, or how a service which will be changed, why it needs to be changed. What is in it that needs to be changed? At what point will it need to be changed? Everything can't be changed. So if you have to decide that bucket needs to be of plastic, then you know a material has to be changed. So that understanding is required. Second is knowing for whom you are changing. That results in something called design research.
That's really great. I'm quite very happy to know such details. I would like to ask you, Deepti, in such kind of case, what is the detail of design methodology? Or is it a method-based or a process-based thing? And if it is, then in that case, why every time in such kind of course, people do say that the candidate need to have a creative bent of mind? So what is that creative bent of mind people are actually looking for or actually asking for?
And now I'm kind of demystify this word called creative. When we think creative, then please don't think of a person with a mohawk, with purple hair, with one earring, wearing weird clothes. When we say creative mind, we mean somebody who's ready to look into the future with absolutely fresh aspect.
That's great.
When we are saying creative mind, we are saying of somebody who's ready to accept new ideas and not be brought down by the traditions or by the already existing ideas. When we are saying creative mind, we are thinking we are talking about those people who are absolutely open to new kind of thought processes within the system. Design managers look at creativity in an absolutely different manner. Another thing I'll come to is design research, which becomes a very important part of design methodology, where you explore the entire visual world of your consumer, the ethnographic world of your consumer, and the world where your consumer wants to go. That is the futuristic world of your consumer through design research. So that
Absolutely.
really takes care of the creativity part.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I fully agree and understand the aspects. So what next we have with us?
Now we will be, next subjects that we have, which will be covering deeply, will be design innovation. Design innovation is of various types. It could be, like I told you earlier, it could be consumer centric. You have to just design something for a consumer. What is happening in phones right now? The kind of innovation that is right now happening in phone is consumer centric. It is not non-consumer centric. So right now you have so many phones available in the market, but all the phones have the same technology, look and feel, only the interface is changing, which is you are only innovating for the consumer. So this is one type of innovation. Second type is where technology changes. So what is happening in, let's say television. Television, the innovations are happening only around technology. There was LED, then there was plasma, now there's curved and blah, 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 and what will not follow. So the innovations that are happening around, so what we will study in design innovation are the innovations, types of innovation. There's service innovation. Then there will be material innovation. So then there are also ethnographic, cultural, various kind of what we say cultural based innovations. Then within an innovation, we will also be touching base on how do the design thinking affects innovation. So we will also explore how it is done. And we will also explore the ways it can be done using various examples and case studies.
That's great. So can you elaborate some more details about cultural innovation and how some of the brands are using it?
I'll tell you, culture innovation is I had done a project with a car company, the name that I can't take. So this particular car company has been innovating in the areas of SUVs, and they have been coming up with various brands, an Indian company. And they wanted to look at companies, they wanted to look at customers which were looking at larger cars. So when we saw what kind of people were buying larger cars, very interestingly, the people who were buying larger cars were the people not who had lots of money, but who were traveling large distances.
That's interesting.
So that means they were looking at those cluster of people or those culture of people which were involved in professions which involved long traveling. So they were buying those SUVs. People who were traveling within the city, within the family, were buying sedans.
Yeah.
So that is why. So that is one kind of a culture. Another kind of culture would be when you are looking like the way VIP does. VIP comes up with red and yellow colored luggage pieces during marriage season.
True.
Because in North India, during marriage season in June and in December, you would find a lot of these rang-biranga, colorful luggages around because of this particular cultural aspect of Indian tradition.
Absolutely.
So that is how these innovations keep affecting the entire mindset.
Absolutely. That's great.
Now, this is something very, very serious affair, managing the design process, because whenever you are looking, suppose even if you're changing, if you look at phone design, I work with a project in phone design. So even if you're shifting a little piece of knob from left to right, or forget about left to right, even you're shifting it 1 millimeter above, then what is happening? The molding at the manufacturing level has to be shifted 1 millimeter above. That means the mold has to be changed. That means the person who will be making the mold will have to rechange the mold. So the entire design process has to be thoroughly controlled. So that is why managing the design process becomes extremely important, because at every step you need to have a certain logicality and yet creativity. So there is a paradox here. Secondly, you have to have a clarity as to why you are doing it with a rationale in mind. Plus, you have to be also understand that it is creative enough because it should catch the consumer's attention and consumer should pick it up. Because if it is the same old product, he will not pick it up. So managing, this is one of the very crucial aspects of design management, is that you need to understand that it's like walking between two tight ropes. When to be rational, when to be creative within the entire design process is the question, to be or not to be. And that is why it becomes a very, very critical stage of design management and for a design manager.
That's really interesting, Deepti. So I just want to know, in any organization, is it that designer or design managers are a set of a complete different department, or it is a role which anyone can play?
I would not say that it is a role which anyone can play, because neither you're here, neither you're there. Designers think, oh, you're a design manager. Managers think, oh, you are a designer. So you have to have that maturity. You have to have the supreme confidence that, okay, what am I doing is something I want to do. But coming back to your question is that in every organization, I'll start with a very fundamental organization of an advertising agency, which is the creative business, the foremost front runner of creative business in any country. Advertising agencies have something called account planners. Those are design managers. That is the function, because you are walking on a thin edge of design management.
Okay.
Whereas research companies have their researchers where they need design managers, because design managers are trained in design research and managing the design process.
Okay.
So researchers use them, research companies use them. Then a lot of consulting companies use them, assistant brand managers, because they have a very good business knowledge as well as they have a creative knowledge. They can look at design, not just value addition or aesthetics, but more also as a process. So they want to, in the entire brand and strategic thinking, they want creative thinking to be driven in. So that is why it offers a lot of multiple platforms, but you have to be very comfortable with the profile that you have chosen of a design manager, because when it really comes to talking about yourself, you can't say you're a designer, you can't say you're a manager. You are a design manager.
Absolutely. So what are the tools we are going to focus in this course, which talks about how to manage the design process?
First would be understanding design deeply, not just as a visual tool, but more like a thinking tool, more like understanding creativity within your own strategic framework. Second would be design research. Design research means understanding your consumer way beyond the statistics, understanding where he's coming from, understanding his ethnography, his culture, where he wants to go with respect to his ethnography and culture, and also technology. And
Great.
third would be to be able to understand that how much of creativity or creative language can we insert in the entire corporate strategic language.
Absolutely. That's super. That's really great.
And then one of the last is design as a business model. When you're looking at when you understand design a business model, when you've done the entire innovation, you've done your entire processing, you've done your entire management, you're taking that particular idea and you're trying to understand how what is the market feasibility of that design, what is the costing, what is the viability, what is the profitability scenario, who's going to buy it, why is he going to buy it, and at what areas within geography is he going to buy it. So I'll give you an example. Once I was working for a helmet company, and when we did a research, then something very interesting came up was that we saw that most of the colored helmets were actually bought in smaller cities.
Oh.
Like the Cochin, the Nagpur, people want to express themselves and they want to be there on the streets. Whereas in bigger cities, you would find people with less colorful helmets.
Okay.
Similar thing we noticed for cars also. You find more gray and black cars on Delhi roads, but as soon as you go into a smaller city, you find more colorful cars. Because apparently what we understood was that when Indians educate themselves and they go to metro, they lose their culture.
Absolutely.
But smaller cities, the people are proud of their culture, where they come from, they're very comfortable, they're confident. But as you get into metro, we are getting underconfident about our culture. We are very scared of wearing the colors that we really want to wear deep inside, which we actually wear in our weddings. So we will never buy a red colored or a very jhatak car or something like that. But we are okay wearing it once in a while on our weddings and on our festivals. So these kind of things are a part of entire business aspect, because that helps you to drive that what color you will manufacture at what time of the season actually.
That's really super. So I just want to know, when we talk about business model and costing, so there will be certainly lots of studies and feasibility mapping which will be required to be done. Now, if I'm not supposed to be, is it that I'm supposed to be really good with costing and financial details? If I'm not so good in financial update and financial management, what is the easy solution for me?
There is, I don't think so. Financial management, I know numbers, word, mathematics. That's kind of possibly you're thinking like that.
Yeah.
But financial management, let me assure you on that, is not about so much about numbers as much as about the common sense.
Okay.
So you have to understand that how much product I'm going to sell in which part of the India, what time, and how much I'm going to manufacture that. First. Second is that you need to just understand that to put it into, you have to learn to put it into numbers. Third, you have to understand that where should you stop when you start making losses.
Yeah.
That is really important.
Yeah.
So that is the maximum thing you have to understand when you're talking about as a business model.
Yeah.
But yet, I would always suggest whoever is getting into design management that get your numbers right, because that really is the main thing in any business. Absolutely. Whatever you are doing, the numbers are the main thing in a business. So if the earlier you get it right, the better it is for you.
Absolutely, to go further in your career.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. So with this, we are now to the end of the webinar. The forum is now open for any question which the participant would like to ask us. So Deepti, we have few questions with us. Like one of the participants want to know, what is your education background and how it has helped you or not helped you to reach to be a design manager?
My education background is extremely varied. I personally, I am a creative person. I started with a sketching background and then I went on to do photography. But academically, I am an MBA. So, so that is why I would suggest that no background is, any person of any background can actually come in this particular profession. But you have to be very, very clear that what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, Are your strengths more towards the management side, or your strengths are more towards the creative side?
Absolutely.
It is not that just a creative person can do design management, or only a management person can do design management. It's just you need to know where your drift would be when you become a design manager.
Very true. So, Deepti, based on your experience, what do you think, what are the types of companies or industry which are very supportive towards design thinking and design management?
The predominant companies that take design managers are first is advertising companies.
Okay.
So they take design managers in the form of some still have design managers as a designation.
Okay.
But most of them are account planners, assistant brand managers, assistant marketing trainees. So they also use design management. Most of my students or my juniors have been actually started as either assistant brand managers or assistant account planners, and then they went on to become senior executives or designers in their field. Second industry that really picks up design managers is the hardcore companies like Samsung, LG. They are looking for very very serious people in the aspect of design process and design research.
That's great.
Third is the consulting companies, both design and management consulting companies, research companies like Quantum, AC Nielsen, design companies like Elephant Design, consulting companies like CKS, which are looking at a strategic consulting areas where they are always looking at people who know how to look at customer more deeply, ethnographically, in a cultural way, who are looking at people who can manage a holistic design process, design research process, and third, who are looking at people who can build up the future scenarios for the customer, or how the customer is going to grow and what he is going to buy in next 10 years or 15 years. So these are all kind of companies which are looking at. Plus, education sector is also looking at design managers, because design management is a lot about futuristic planning.
That's really great.
And the way education is growing, the way the paradigms are changing, and the education sector is looking at design managers. You can call it by any name. I have met my design management students who are no longer called design managers.
Yeah.
They are brand managers, they are marketing managers, they are innovation managers, they are sometimes sales and promotion managers. But their genesis is that they are design managers.
Yeah, I think that overall ability to manage and plan is something which is very helpful.
Yeah, and that too, because most of the MBA courses, what they do, they just are able to stimulate the right brain, and they do not help you look into the future very clearly.
Absolutely.
The design management course takes care of that.
That's true. So Deepti, can you help us to summarize the main points of the webinar? What are the main 4 points?
The main 4 points would be, if you want to look into future, go for design management. If you want to understand your customer deeply, from where he comes from and where he is going to go in next 10-20 years, pick up design management as your career. If you want to stimulate your creative side and yet remain rational, pick up design management. And if you want to have a very, very open-ended career, I started as a sketching artist. I went on to become an MBA, working in marketing. Then I went into design. Then I went into filmmaking. And now I'm a storyteller and I'm talking to you. So if you're looking for a career where you can have fun all the way, design management is the career for you.
That's really lovely, Deepti. We have another question with us, and one of the participants, he wants to know the basic concept of design management. What is the meaning of design management?
Design management is a subject which helps designers to understand the overall managerial and corporate strategy. And it helps the managers to explore the creative and futuristic side of the world and on their own brain. That is very simply put in a way.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope all of us had quite a great insight based on this webinar. Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.